वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So we saw that the third quarter of Atma is the causal, okay? And that again is divided into Vyashti and Samashti. Vyashti, to give you an insight into the Vyashti causal, your own experience is used, right? Which is that of a deep sleep, where you find that in that state, you have no connection with the physical or subtle body, but you are still there. You can't say that you've gone away. You are there in an unmanifest potential form from which you re-emerge, right, to be connected to the same body at night, okay, to live your life. And but the prajna that Upanishads are talking about is not just this, what is available in the deep sleep. Please understand that. Okay? It's also available right now in the waking. The physical, subtle, as well as the causal is present. Okay? The causal is the one which gives a link between the present moment and the next moment. How the next moment is going to unfold for me may not be exactly the same way as the next moment unfolds for you. So why is there a difference? Where do the differences lie? They lie in your own particular causes, which are different from somebody else's causes. Okay? So that means that causal, don't think that some causal is somewhere out there and it's operating you like a puppet. Wherever there is a physical body, that's exactly where the subtle body is, and that's exactly where the causal body is. Don't look for some other location of that causal body. Okay? That's what links one moment to the other. Okay? And once this physical body and subtle body goes, that causal body which is located here, right, will then travel in time and space and will assume another physical and subtle body, because the causes are still there. It is like the root is very much there, invisible. You keep cutting the tree, what will happen? The new tree will emerge. The roots are not seen by you because you see only the tree. Okay? The roots are what? From your own standpoint, it is unmanifest. Unmanifest in the sense that you don't see it because they are all down below. Okay? But they are right there where the tree is. There is a cause. Don't look for cause somewhere out there. Because otherwise, what is that continuity? That continuity is that the causal body is with you right now. Don't think it's somewhere else. And you are dropped with this physical and subtle body. And the causal body is somewhere out there. No. Wherever, that's why Atma is 4 quarters. 4 quarters means you just think I am, as Shona said, right? That I am just this person, and one day I am connected to my thoughts, which are my emotions. Next day I am connected to my cognitive capacity. Third day I am connected to my memories, or in one day I am connected to all different things at different points in time. right? That is the only I sense that I have before I come to Vedanta. Now Vedanta says that actually this I that you are talking about has 4 different aspects. One is the physical body, the second is the subtle body, and the third is the causal. And they are all right there. In the waking, the causal is going to determine what? 5 years from now, we have no idea what is going to be our life. So the causal is constantly unmanifest now, which is going to manifest in the future. From our own standpoint, it's a suspense. That's why we keep running to astrologers, because this suspense, we all very well know that somehow what is to come, nobody knows. But because there is a causal, okay, which has some cause and effect, it doesn't just happen, there are some causes. So why do you go to an astrologer? He has some access into what is the causal and how it will manifest.
He does have some access? Little. No.
A little. Yeah.
But don't they really talk to you and then find out where you're at and then pick up certain emotions?
I mean, it's a combination of things, but that's not, let's not get, we'll talk about it in satsang, because that's not really not the topic, right? The astrology is not the topic. What we are saying is the causal is connecting, and somebody tries, whether astrologer knows or not, why you go to astrologer? That is the big question, right? If you think that things were totally not determinable, you will not go to any astrologer. But you know that there are some causes, there are some patterns which will emerge, but you don't know. So you try to search for a person who will have some access. You see what I mean? You know that there are some causes which will create a certain pattern, but you are not aware. So you go to a person who you think is aware, who has that access. Whether he has really the access or not is a different issue altogether. So therefore, there is a causal, and in fact all of us have an insight into the fact that there is a causal, and it's right here. It is determining one moment to the other. Okay? So therefore, but in the deep sleep, you find this causal without connection to the physical and subtle body, so that experience is given to you to give you an insight into the presence of causal. Okay? So once this physical body and the subtle body drops, what happens? This causal, which was already here, located here, not somewhere else, okay, in the potential form, okay, goes, travels, and what? Creates another physical and subtle body to go through the experiences. And what constitutes this causal body is your own karma. And as Niru very rightly said, this Sanchita karma is again not a fixed thing. It's constant, its configuration is changing all the time. Because you are expanding some and you are accumulating new.
So can I change my prarabdha also?
Prarabdha, whatever the patterns are, you
They
can.
have certain.
It depends upon how much.
Like I cannot change my physical experience, but maybe something somewhere.
Okay.
Because again, use of free will.
Exactly.
Will, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Configuration of Sanchita karma changes or Agami karma changes?
No.
See, Agami karma joins Sanchita karma. That's how the Sanchita karma changes, right? Because something which was already collected through Prarabdha karma, it's already expanded. So that goes away from Sanchita, because now it's already expanded. Okay? Agami is what you do in this life which gets accumulated in Sanchita. So the configuration of Sanchita karma is constantly changing too. And this is why what she says, that if you change today, you are not only ensuring a better life only this time, you are ensuring a better life for many, because it goes back to Sanchita karma, which will ensure your better future births. And this is why it then answers the question, why each one of us are born differently. have a body which is at times very kind of good in one thing but little bit handicapped in something else. Why I have a mind which can be a very interesting, very creative mind on one direction but handicapped by something else. And each handicap of each person is different. And the skills that we are endowed with are also different. Because there are causes, it's not random, please understand. Okay? So therefore, these causes are the ones which are what? Constantly changing, and you are changing the configuration based on the actions that you are performing. Because what you do now, right, will also then influence the next body that you are going to have, not just this lifetime. And the next set of circumstances in which you are going to be born. Okay, so this is what we talked about, the Vyashti causal. Okay, now it comes to Samashti causal. Okay, what is that cause which combines all these different causes and puts it all together to make it into what? One coherent universe. Because in this universe, you go through your past causes, I go through my past causes, she goes through her past causes in form of prarabdha karma. We are constantly creating new causes through our actions, and something is putting it all together to produce what? Samashti universe. Samashti universe is what? The entire causal manifestation which will decide what? What is the total? So we will talk about it in the next verse. It is talked about. Okay. So the next verse says, okay, Eshaha Sarveshwaraha, Eshaha Sarvajnaha, Eshaha Antaryami, Eshaha Yonihi, Sarvasya Prabhavapyayau hi Bhutana. Okay. So what is the Samashti causal? Here he says, Eshaha Sarva Ishvaraha. Okay, that is what in the previous we gave the name Virat Hiranyagarbha, and the Samashti causal is given the name Ishvara. Okay, now what is this Ishvara? What is this Samashti causal? What constitutes Samashti causal? Okay, and this is what we already saw in the first when we talked about Omkara. Okay, what is it? The whole, what is the entire world, okay, is what we saw is a manifestation of what? Sarvajnaha. Sarvajnaha means what? All knowledge. All knowledge, as we saw, that everything that has come about here, okay, ultimately, if it is a dependent reality, it depends upon what? It depends upon this all knowledge, which is not a limited knowledge, but which is all knowledge. Okay? Now this all knowledge is the one from which the entire universe has come about. Okay? So that means this entire universe is a manifestation of this all knowledge. Where is this all knowledge available to us in the creation? Okay. As we saw, it is everywhere. This all knowledge is not somewhere sitting somewhere and then creating my life like a puppet. We saw that right now, what? My cells are changing at a certain rate, which has its own causes. There is a causal level. Okay. That intelligence which governs my causal, cancer doesn't just happen overnight. Okay. A lot of us are talking about cancer being psychosomatic. Psychosomatic means you are carrying a trauma somewhere. Okay. Now that trauma slowly translates into what? It it creates different causes. It translates at a level where your cellular growth is affected. What decides that this mental state is going to affect your cells, and for each one it is different cells. Somebody has a stomach cancer, somebody can have a blood cancer, somebody can... So which are those causes? Right now they are operating through your body and equally through my body and equally through his body. Samashti causal. Okay? In your case, your mental being is going to translate into what? Some physical ailment following a series of causes which are put together, which are over a period of time produces what? They accumulate slightly. They keep on what? Getting configured. At one day you discover that you have got cancer. Okay? You are not sitting and telling now this is the thought has occurred and now this cell has to be affected. You don't even want it, but it is happening. Those causes are at work.
So it is psychosomatic.
Exactly. But the causes, what I am saying is, Ishvara is right now there, putting together these causes.
What she's saying, it's not only psychosomatic.
It's
One
a
of the
combination of everything, because
Yeah.
you're not grasping correctly the knowledge, and therefore you're...
So that means the causes which are at work, right? The intelligence which is at work, which makes your mind connected to your physiology, and that physiology in that particular aspect of physiology is all an arrangement of that all knowledge. And that all knowledge does not only operate in my body, that operates equally in what? Everybody's body. It's right now at work, here and now. Please understand. Sarvajnaha does not, Sarvajna means all knowledge manifests through each and everything right now.
Never stops.
It never stops. It's constantly continuing and constantly refiguring everything. The minute you make another action, what happens? You change your own, you add your own agami karma, right? And you also, through that agami karma, you change the configuration of the world right now. Constantly. And you do it, I do it, and everything is put together to what? Constantly make changes at the universal level, also at an individual level, okay? Even though things are changing constantly, within which there is a seeming stability and seeming staticness. So that is what we call Ishvara. Okay? The causes are something, when we look at the causes, in fact, it can be looked upon at two different levels. When we talk about any cause of the universe, we talk about generally two causes of the universe. Okay? If I tell you that this cup, okay, is just kind of a process of natural evolution, where the steel particle just came flying, right? And the other things are just kind of, they arranged themselves and they became this cup. How, then you'll say, how did the steel particle, it just happened and they all just combined together and it happened. Okay? Every time there is an intelligent creation, when something is intelligently put together, okay, to think that it just randomly came together is not reasonable. It must have a cause. It's like, forget, this is relatively simple, but a watch. A watch, I say, is just a natural evolution. This wire came from there and the battery came from there, and they just somehow organized themselves to make this amazing watch. and your watch is the same. Somehow they all just came together. How reasonable is that assumption? Huh?
Ludicrous, I think.
Ludicrous, exactly. It's a ludicrous assumption. Okay? Anything which is intelligently put together must have a cause. That is much more reasonable, okay, to think that there is a cause than to think that there is no cause. Okay. The watchmaker has what knowledge? The knowledge of the watch. Okay. The creator of everything must have what knowledge? All knowledge. You cannot have less than all knowledge to be the cause of all the causes that are taking place here. Okay. So this is what we say, all knowledge is the cause. So this is what we call all knowledge is the maker of the universe. Okay. Just as this watch is an intelligent creation, it requires an intelligent maker who has the knowledge of this watch. The entire creation must have a maker who has all knowledge to create the entire world. Okay. If all knowledge now is that all that is required in the creation of this watch, there is a maker and there is second aspect which the maker requires to make a watch. What is that cause? Material cause. Okay, so you have in any creation you have two different types of causes. You have maker, which is officially called efficient cause, okay, and you have the material that the maker uses, okay, to create whatever the creation is, right, which is what we call material cause. So maker and material, efficient cause and material cause. Okay. So that means now we have understood that logically it can be only all knowledge which has made this universe. So now we have to look for material cause. Okay. What is the material that this all knowledge used to make the universe?
The material is this causal thing. No.
The karmic causal manifest by
What is the
Knowledge
material cause?
itself.
Excellent. Why?
Knowledge itself has dispelled itself into various,
Exactly.
and therefore we are all knowledge, and therefore we are all part. Oh my God. Oh boy.
Super. Okay. Now, she's saying, which is something totally right, but we have to come up with logic, right? What you are saying is right. Okay. In the case of this watchmaker, there is already a creation, right? So already steel is there, which the maker of the watch uses. The wires are there, batteries are there, and then he uses all of this to make the watch. Okay? But when you're talking about the creation is yet to come, the creator of the universe means what? The creator of time, the creator of space, and creator of all the objects that exist in time and space. Okay? So therefore, if there is already some material that this all knowledge uses, that means there is already a creation. Logically, it is not possible, because if the all knowledge uses some other material, that means that material is already created, there is already a creation. In the case of creation, there is no possibility of any other material, because the time is yet to come, the space is yet to come, the objects within time and space are yet to come. So you can not have a material which is other than the maker. What Shona is saying is absolutely right. This is the only logical possibility. There is no other logical possibility. The maker is the material when it comes to the cause of all the different causes.
So the efficient and material
Cause are one. Okay. Now, what difference does it make? Okay. Generally, we think, this is where actually the problem is. Why does this whole concept of heaven come? Okay. The concept of heaven comes because, right, that you see this intelligent creation, which is very intelligent. Okay. So you say, okay, there is a cause, there is a maker. Okay. But then you don't find that maker anywhere. So you attribute a place which is away, and you see now that person is sitting there, so that's why you don't see it locally. Okay. But here, what we are saying is, the person is not some person and he's sitting somewhere locally. That all knowledge, right, uses its own material, which is all knowledge, to create the whole creation. The maker of the watch can be away from the watch. Can the material cause of the watch be away from the watch? It can never be away from the watch. Okay? The material cause of the creation can never be away from the watch. So as Rashna is saying, that in this case, what we have seen is the maker and the material cause is one, right? And what is that maker and material, which is the cause?
All knowledge.
All knowledge. Okay. If all knowledge is the material cause of the world, where will you find it? Everywhere.
In all creation.
Exactly. In all creation, everywhere. Okay. Then, in the first class, if you remember, right, I already said if all knowledge is the cause which is pervading everything, why do I see mountains, rivers, individuals, birds, insects, and I don't see any all knowledge? Excellent. What is Rashna saying is, yes, what I see are the forms, but if I begin to inquire into the truth of form, where will I end up? I will end up at all knowledge. It is right now pervading. It is right now pervading, but it eludes my awareness, my knowledge. Okay? So that means all knowledge and all power is right now, the cause of all the causes is right now pervading the whole universe, making every object what it is. Okay? Not only it makes every object what it is, we also saw that it connects one object to the other object through what? Series of laws. These laws are also manifestation of what? All knowledge and all, exactly, sarvajna. Okay, so that means the laws which connect the present rock to what? The Big Bang through series of cause and event, cause and effect event, is what? Is Ishvara. So for example, you see the tree right now. The tree cannot come from the seed, without the seed. Now that seed itself requires what? Another tree. And then that itself, what?
A seed.
A seed. So that means that this tree is connected to how many seeds and how many trees? Countless.
But then, what will be first, seed or the tree?
Exactly. So that means That is a very important question, and this is what we will see, right? This is something that, in fact, this is the next thing. First, let's understand this, then we will come to this, okay? What is the first seed then? Okay? Now that is something that the only way to answer this question is through Vedanta. Because no human being has an answer to this question. Okay? And we will see how we answer it. But first understand what cause. When we say that the cause of the universe, which is what? All knowledge, which is Ishvara, it is all pervading, okay? Making every individual what it is, and it connects not only individuals, the individuals are not dropped, but what? A corresponding jagat is made. Okay? And the engagement in that jagat is made possible through what? Your 5 sense organs, your organs of actions, your respiratory system, your mind, how the thing is arranged. And then you engage, and then what? That is an action, and then you get the result. The whole arrangement is what we call is a manifestation of Ishvara. It is not only the objects, but it is also what? The laws which connect different objects. Okay. So, my presence on this earth is connected to a very far off star. Through series of calculations and all, it is mind-boggling. Okay, there are some experiments that there is in somebody who blinks, the bird who blinks, a butterfly flaps, and then it causes what?
Something in
A tsunami.
Exactly, right? So who's connecting all these causes? Causes within causes, within causes, within causes. It's incredible network of causes. This is what we call Ishvara through series of laws. Laws of physics, laws of biology, laws of psychology, laws of epistemology, laws of physiology.
This series of laws will have all these laws.
Which is, all these laws are manifestation of all knowledge. When you look upon the intelligence which makes this what? The galaxies and these the stars and the planets behave in a certain way, when we look at the intelligence which governs them, from that standpoint, we give it a name that of that discipline, we give it a name, astrophysics. So that's our name attributed to it.
It is already there.
Yeah. It's that all knowledge is already doing it. Already making the stars where they are. Already positioning everything in the universe. But I try to understand it. And that is, I'm getting an insight into the all knowledge which is already doing it.
I got one image. All knowledge is sitting there and teasing human beings. Now discover.
Exactly.
Discover.
Exactly.
And you claim to be God.
Exactly. It's having fun.
Yeah.
You can shed and you can shed and you can shed your ignorance. Because this amazing arrangement is already at work.
And that's why you say Ishvara is in you, because the knowledge is in you. It's only for you to
The
discover.
all knowledge is not in you. Okay? You are not the human mind. One second. One has to be very, very careful because otherwise you will make a huge mess out of Vedanta. Okay? What we are saying is there is something called human intelligence, which is limited. A human mind is it has a range. It cannot cross that range. Even Einstein operates at a very high end of that range, right? But the range is defined. Okay? So there is something called human intellect and that intellect's capacity to potentially remove what? Remove ignorance. Okay? That is not limitless. Please understand. That's not all knowledge. It can never have all the details, as I told you. No human mind can have all the details about the seed and which other seed and which other tree and how the events happened till the time of the Big Bang. That detail is not available to any human mind. Okay? So that means there is what we call your intelligence, which is your range, which is different from my range. Okay? But then there are neurons which tick together and create your intelligence. Okay? So that means what is it which first makes those neurons and make them configured in a way which produces your intelligence? There is a more fundamental intelligence at work. That is what we call all knowledge. You understand? Where there is your intelligence, more fundamental to it is this all intelligence, which makes your intelligence what is. And which makes my intelligence what is, different from yours. Okay? That all knowledge is there very much, making your neurons tick in a different way and my neurons tick in a different way. So that we have two different experiences. Even though neurons are always free from everything that is happening. That is the biggest trick in the universe. Your neurons don't have any intrinsic attribute of happiness, sadness, none of that.
And that's why you said that, and that knowledge which creates whatever capacity that we have comes from
The causes.
the causes.
Exactly. And what are those causes? Your own karma, which are all
So your talents, your intellects, your latent whatever.
Exactly. Okay. So this all knowledge is at work. Does not mean right now it is there, right? Does not mean that a human intellect is all knowledge. Please understand. That there is a fundamental all knowledge which makes my intellect its particular, gives it a particular characteristic.
Governed by the laws of
Governed by the laws, exactly. Laws of physics, laws of biology, laws of genetics, laws of everything. Not just one law, not only law of karma. Please understand. It all works. You see, must understand who you are operates through series of laws. It's not only the laws of karma. The laws of genetics also walk in. Okay. So many laws of physics walk in. Because the human body can be on the surface, but then if you drop it, it will fall. So it is subject to laws of gravity. The physical laws are at work. The biological laws are at work. The physiological laws are at work. The psychological laws are at work. The laws of karma, they are all at work. Not just only karma. Please don't think that only you are governed only by laws of karma. You are governed by multiple laws. And all knowledge, where does this laws come from? They are manifestation of this all knowledge. It's already there. Already your neurons are ticking. Whether you think about what makes it tick or not, it's already doing the job. And it's laughing. And you think you are very big, you are very intelligent, and laughing. I mean, I don't want to personalize God because there is no such person called God, right?
teases you actually.
Teases. There is almost like a teaser. Okay. The cause, which is all knowledge, is all the time what? In the creation, making everything what it is through series of laws. Because otherwise, and those laws govern the rules of how the whole universe is going to be. Because otherwise, you can ask, if he has all knowledge, and if he or she, there is no entity, right? As all power, then why is there so much misery? This question is something which is a very common question. The laws of gravity are at work. If you choose to fall from there, can you blame the laws of gravity? Is God mean? Oh, God is so mean because this person, he fell down and he hurt himself. If there is God, which is all power, He should have saved him. If that is your understanding of God, what do you think? That there is some person, big uncle there, who's what? Overlooking your life. God is what? Manifests as all the different objects and the laws which govern how they are going to experience the universe. And that is already at work. The cause which combines all the different causes and arranges this huge, vast network which constantly produces slight changes in the universe, slight changes in the universe, slight change. After 5 years, it becomes visible. You're changing all the time, but all of a sudden when you are 35, you start seeing white hair. But that didn't happen from one night to the other. The causes were at work from the time that you are born. Slight causes, series, and at that time it's visible, it's becoming visible to you. And not only you, then everybody else. And not because it is a system, then not only what I do affects me, but I also either enhance the ecology of our being or what? Yeah, exactly, depreciate it. Okay? So that means I also constantly participate in the creation, not only to influence me, but also others around me. And other person also does the same, and you do the same, and I do the same. And the world has to keep changing constantly to incorporate our actions and give us our unique results. Some which are common to us and some which are unique to us. That is what we call all knowledge.
Brahman is also the same thing, right? Big.
Sorry?
It came to my mind, Brahman, which is big.
Okay.
Will it be the same thing?
Okay, now that is the fourth part of this Atma. We are still on the third part. So you still have to wait one more time. Upanishad is not over yet, right? It can only proceed from one step to the other. Okay? Because that's human intellect. You want to understand the entirety very quickly. There is no such thing. Because without understanding the part, you can never understand the entirety. And human attempt is, this is fine, but I want to understand the big picture. The big picture constitutes of smaller pictures, which are very critical part of a bigger picture. You can't understand the full picture without understanding each part accurately and looking into it and seeing it from all different aspects. This teaching is like going to a scientist and saying, in 10 minutes you tell me what is quantum physics, and you tell me and you prove that it is right. And the quantum physicist, will he engage in the conversation? He'll laugh at you. Okay. What we are talking about is the final truth. To capture the final truth, you have to understand each detail of each part. Yeah, it's a puzzle, right? Each part, in fact what happens is that even that part, we just skim over. We don't even understand it accurately. And without even knowing about other part, we want to understand the whole. It is silly. The whole process is a guiding process. The teacher knows very well what the teacher is doing. I'm not here just telling you some stories about what I think about life. Not at all. They are amazing scriptures. They have a vision and they also have a methodology to unfold this vision. Very sophisticated methodology of living. And one has to go through that methodology to see what is being said. Okay? So therefore, what we need to understand, what we are looking into is what? The Samashti cause. The Samashti cause is what? What did we understand? It's what we call Ishvara. It is all knowledge, okay, which does what? It governs the whole universe. How? Being both the maker and the material. Okay. Material, what? So it has two aspects. One is what? It makes all these varied objects. Okay. Following those causes, what is made? Think about it.
Following the causes,
The following those causes, what is made?
laws,
The laws. The laws, exactly. Following those causes and laws, what is made?
all knowledge.
The universe. What does universe constitute? The physical forms and all the entire physical forms. Following the laws are what? Making what? The subtle, your personal subtle, and what? The entire subtle.
Space and matter.
Absolutely. Right? So that means this causes, right, in form of all these laws, okay, they create what? The physical and the subtle. So that means the physical that you see is what? Connected to what? The original cause, which is what? Ishvara. Ishvara is manifest not only as causal. Please understand. The laws, when they give you the physical, Ishvara is also very much present there, making that physical what it is. You understand? Don't think of Ishvara as only causal and then what is subtle and physical. Those causes work through what? Physical and subtle. All three are there. In all three, one has to see Ishvara. Right? Because we saw that my physical is because of the causal. And if Ishvara is all the causal, it is not what? The causal which is a potential, which is manifesting as what? Different conditions of the physical, different conditions of the mind, which are changing all the time. It is connecting the past with the present and the future, not only for one person, but for whom? The entire universe.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, because of our causal, we are this and you are that and she is
Yes.
this.
Yes.
But just like you said, nobody can answer where the seed came from first to the second.
Okay.
One can't go back. It's
One can.
how
One
did-
can. Yes.
How did and why did I get this and you get that and from where? And when we first began, was everything equal and then
Okay. One thing you have to now, this is a very important question. You first will finish this idea, then we'll go to this idea. Right? Do you understand this now? First, let's see.
Just
Yeah.
last point.
Yes.
You say
Yeah.
again. Last point.
reiterate your last point.
Reiterate your last.
Okay. the causal, you think now if I say the samashti causal is Ishvara, right? A human mind is such that you will think only the causal is Ishvara. Then I will ask you, if only the causal is Ishvara, what is this samashti physical and samashti subtle? Is it independent of Ishvara? No. So that means what? When I say all that is here is Ishvara, what do I mean?
Physical is Ishvara, the cause.
Excellent.
What did she
Excellent.
say?
The physical is Ishvara, the subtle is Ishvara. The causal.
And the causal is Ishvara.
And of the individual and the totality.
Exactly. Exactly, Neil.
Not only individual, but also of the whole, all
Past, present and future.
in the three colors.
In the three colors.
So physical, subtle,
causal
And
at the individual
because-
level and the total level.
Because the physical determines, but the causal determines what is physical and subtle. You understand that?
Say that again, the causal
Determines what is physical and what is subtle.
Exactly.
You know, we can expand to think that even the causal determined that this is the human form.
Yeah.
This is what the
Very much.
cow will look like.
Very
This is what the rat
Exactly.
will look like. This is what the
Absolutely.
tree will look like.
Yes.
Whatever we know
Yes.
and we see.
Yes.
But we have no other ways of knowing what else can a tree look like, because the causal decided and created that, right?
Correct. Correct.
So what else we could have looked like, we don't know. Or what else an alien looks like, because that is also coming from the causal, which we don't know yet.
from standpoint of human
We
intellect,
later-
we don't know. And
From-
this is what I said. When I say all knowledge, from my own standpoint, it is what? Things which are known to me and unknown to me. But from the all knowledge standpoint, is there anything unknown? No, that's what you are saying. From the standpoint of human intellect, you
Yeah.
can say it is known to me and unknown to me.
Unknown.
But from the standpoint of all knowledge,
It's known.
it's
known.
it is part of all knowledge.
Because that's what created it in the first place.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
causal knowledge decided what an alien will look like and what a
Yeah,
human on earth will
yes,
look like.
absolutely.
And gave it that form.
Form, absolutely. And made that, gave the eyes and gave what corresponding forms. Gave the ears and gave the sounds. Gave the, you see
So
what
that
I
is
mean?
why in literature and poetry they say he is the biggest poet, he is the biggest sculptor.
Yes.
That is why literature and poetry serenade that causal knowledge as the artist, the sculptor, the scientist, the everything, right?
Exactly. Okay, because we think in terms of categorization. Now we'll mug up. Okay, now Vishwa and Virat, everything compartmentalized. Okay, then Tejasa and Hiranyagarbha. Oh, now I've aced
That's
Virat.
only we do.
That's how human intellect works. Now, now that there is Prajna and then there is Ishvara. And everything stays as what? Separate categories. That's why you need to delve in ideas in depth. Because we stay at superficial levels and we think, I understood that.
So we should compartmentalize, but we should even combine it just like if we
Exactly.
combine-
And for that, one needs to dwell on it. Right? Each piece.
Compartmentalize for the sake of understanding, but
But later on, exactly.
Combine it
Initially, you
to
need to.
make it work
Exactly.
in what
So-
you're
And that is the job of a
Experiencing.
teacher. That is the job of a teacher, because many times you'll find teacher who just like parrots. They'll just, okay, now I've done this and I've done this, and you think you've understood this, and now next, right? And the meaning of it all, it just eludes both the teacher and the student. You need a competent teacher for Vedanta to make sense of Vedanta. It's too big, it's too subtle, it's too refined.
What I gather is Vedanta doesn't talk about God the way we talk about God in day-to-day sense.
Exactly.
It talks about
An
all
entity.
knowledge,
Yes.
Something
a power, not a
All
power.
knowledge which
All knowledge.
which makes everything what is, right?
Yeah. So
It doesn't have a one given form, right? Because if it has one given form, then let's assume, let's postulate, right? This is how you increase your knowledge. Let's postulate that this all knowledge is one little entity which has more knowledge than my knowledge. Okay? If that is the case, what logical fallacy I will fall into? Answer this question.
There can be someone with more knowledge than me.
Exactly. Because this is one entity who has more knowledge with reference to me, but there can also be another entity, right, who has more knowledge than him. And in the first place, how can I call him all knowledge if my knowledge is independent of his knowledge? Okay? Because if my knowledge is totally separate from his knowledge, no matter how little my knowledge is, if that is not included in his, I can't call it all knowledge. Logically, I will get into a flaw. If I call it Sarvajnaha and I still give it a form, right, and I say that that form has this much knowledge, I am creating an illogical imagery. Okay? All knowledge means it has to include all knowledge, everyone. Your intelligence is not independent of all knowledge, because the very programming, as Neeru says, is what? Is part of the design of all knowledge. This is what human form is going to look like. Wonderful. Whose knowledge is this? Your knowledge? No. Even though this is the human form, each one is different from the other. Whose knowledge? There is no two forms which are identical, even though they are twins, who are what we call identical twins. There are always small differences. Whose knowledge? Infinite permutations and combinations. Infinite. Same range. Okay. Then human form is different from cow form. Whose knowledge? All knowledge. How a cow, how is the cow's eye programmed is different from human eye, how it is programmed. But within that range, there is what? Every cow's eye is different. So that means there are commonalities and there are what? Peculiarities. Uniqueness and commonality. Uniqueness and commonality. Infinite permutations and combinations.
So you see the Vyashti and Samashti in every form.
Exactly.
So in
Absolutely.
in that cow, exactly you see the Vyashti and the
And
Samashti.
and here also you
So
see
there is
Vyashti.
that universal cow world, which is the same, and then there is the Vyashti, which every cow is different. Similarly for humans.
Exactly. Everywhere there is Vyashti, there is also Samashti. And this is why Mandukya Upanishad, when he talks about Atma, he brings both. Because both are there. Excellent point, Neeru.
And then also between all different forms is Vyashti
And Samashti.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Vyashti and Samashti is everywhere. It is amazing.
So Vyashti can't exist
Without Samashti. Both at an individual level and also at a collective level. Brilliant. You guys are brilliant.
It's your teaching. I know. It's your teaching. I'm only clarifying my point.
We are understanding because you are teaching.
You guys are brilliant. The levels at which your mind go, hats off to
But
you.
it's mind blowing.
It's mind blowing.
It's just like blowing my mind right now.
But then, whom do we pray to?
Okay. This all knowledge is an entity. It's not one entity, but it is all pervading entity which governs everything.
Okay, and then all knowledge of intelligence, we pray Ganpati.
Wonderful. Okay. Now let us. Yes.
Because
yes.
for
yes.
human understanding, it is simplified.
You need a form.
Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to talk about it. This is very, very good point. Okay, this is an excellent point. I'm going to talk about it now. No, it's one. Okay, so we are. Okay, that's true. So now
He
talk about it.
He stops the class.
We are like these women who are being governed by these two men sitting.
Time and quantity of time. Very
You're on our side.
Okay, we will talk about this. This is an important point. I haven't
Satsang.
forgotten. There are 3 things that we need to talk from this because your brilliant minds have come up with amazing things. Okay, one is what is this Ganesha and all that we pray to? This is Lakshmi and Saraswati and Shiva and all kinds of things. And how does it fit into this Vedic vision of all that is here? Is this all knowledge? Very, very good point. We will talk about it. Okay. Now the second point somebody asked is, which is Shona. She said, okay, now all this is true that there is a cause which operates within this so-called series, but where does it begin? Okay, that's the second question. Excellent question. Now we have answer for that too. Okay. Rashna's question is a little bit more advanced question, for which we have to wait one more case. Okay. Because ultimately the vision of Vedanta does not end with all knowledge and all power. It ends with what she says, Brahman. Right? So that means, yeah, exactly. So what is the relationship between this all knowledge and all power and this Brahman is the ultimate, the last card of Vedanta. Okay? That we have to wait slightly more.
I won't understand it, so better I wait more.
No, you will understand. Obviously, you will understand. Why not? So, this class, Surya this morning was telling me that you have amazing students, right? I mean, really, really proud of you guys. But every time I feel the same.
This class and all the classes.
And then our all knowledge is sitting here for us. Giving us
Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.